Well. You're listening to Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright then, I may say words on point, straightforward. No jibber jabber, everybody forward. Issues, facts and solution. Get it at Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright, what other thing is a revolution? Get it on point with Professor Buitrón. Gloves Off, no nonsense issues, politics, community. A better men follow reader. Gloves Off, a revolutionary show with everything that you need to know. With Professor Buitrón. Watch ya!
We're back at Gloves Off, and today we have a great guest, Mr. Randy Beale, who's part of This Is Texas Freedom Force, and it's a great organization and a great story that's been on for 3.5 years, and that is the fight for the cenotaph of the Alamo and what San Antonio was trying to do by removing that part of history and disturbing those that are resting there. How are we doing today? You doing good?
I'm doing great, Paul. Get any better, there'd be two of me.
Absolutely. That's a great win for Texas. That's a great win for you all. You all have been the forefront of that fight. So let's explain it. It's been going on for 3.5 years.
Yes, sir. Our organization was formed a little over 3.5 years ago. And, we were dedicated to preserving Texas history, statues, monuments, memorials, whatever that may be. And the cenotaph took almost 100% of our time when we found out what the city of San Antonio was attempting to do with the whole Alamo Plaza. So we've been trying to keep it in place for all those many years. It's almost been there 100 years, and they wanted to take it down and move it to the other side. And we had a victory yesterday that the Texas Historical Commission denied a permit to move it. So, we're chalking it up as a win.
Right. Explain to me, you're the director of, you're an area director of This Is Texas Freedom Force, right?
Yes, they call it an outreach director, but anybody in my area, let's say 150 miles of Houston, they contact me, and I contact them for events that we might have going in the area right there, and it's grown so much that we need some directors in other areas of Texas so that we can have events up there and not have to drive all over the state to have events and attend events. So that's how I got this position.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about the players of those opposing the move and those wanting the move, because of those wanting the move were politicians in San Antonio, correct? And in Texas.
Yes, sir. It was all started 6 years ago when the General Land Office turned the Alamo Plaza over to the UN to make it a UNESCO site. A lot of people didn't know that. So,
okay.
And then they had this Reimagine the Alamo plan that they were going to make it reclaim the battlefield and give homage to everyone that died on the battlefield. Not only the defenders, the Spanish, I guess Spaniards is what they called, and the Mexican army. They wanted to pay homage to even the enemies that were, trying to stop the Texas from becoming a republic. So part of that plan was to remove the cenotaph. And there's a lot of people in Texas that didn't like that. So that's how the fight got started.
Absolutely. you know, a lot of families, I have great great grandfathers and great uncles that fought there. One of my great granduncles was Seguin himself, and his first cousin was Flores, who actually died in the scrimmages before the Alamo. And so it's special to us, you know. It's something that we need to understand. It's part of our history. Texas was a republic. It was a nation by itself. And when I was young, I didn't really quite understand it. But you know, I went to school in France. And I remember walking down near Sacré-Cœur, a church in France that's very famous. And I passed by this house. It said Embassy of the Republic of Texas, established by San Houston. So they even had an embassy in Paris.
Yeah.
At those days. So Texas was a force to reckon with. It still is now. And we have to preserve all that history. And we cannot be offended by that history. We have to learn from it and keep on moving forward. So, but what I see now is I saw Republicans that wanted to move it, and I saw Democrats that wanted to move it. I saw Texans said, no, it's not going to happen. And yesterday, the battle was won once more. You all won it. Tell me about that.
Well, they were the Alamo Trust, the people that were wanting to reimagine the Alamo, which included the General Land Office and City Council of San Antonio. They were down to needing a permit filed with the Texas Historical Commission, because obviously the cenotaph is a historical monument, and they were needing a permit to seeking to repair it and relocate it. And I don't know that they really need a permit to repair it, because the city of San Antonio was in charge of that for the last 6 years, and they've done nothing to the entire plaza as far as repair, because they wanted this sweeping plan to reimagine the Alamo. And after a long, hard battle, the commission yesterday, the antiquities part of the commission, they voted in favor of the plan that they had going on to revamp the Alamo and try to reclaim as much of the battlefield as they can, which we're not opposed to the whole plan. We were just opposed to moving the cenotaph, because that entailed moving it 500 feet, taking it apart, and then they were going to rotate it 180 degrees, which would lose the entire meaning of the cenotaph that Capini, when he built it, Pompeo Capini, his name is just hard for me to say, but in his book, he had written that he put the monument up a certain way, to this part to face north, the other part south and east, and the sun rises on the defenders on one side and sets on the other. Well, they were going to rotate it 180 degrees, which would totally eliminate the entire meaning that he built it for. And we've had engineers that went up to examine it, paid for our own engineers, and they said there's no reason to take it apart and to repair it. It can be repaired in place, and it doesn't have to be moved. And if you move it, there's a very high chance that it would be damaged. And once it's damaged, it could not be replaced. The materials aren't even available. The molds for the sculptures and everything are not there. So we had a good win yesterday, and we were very thankful that a lot of people across the state called in and voiced their opinion, not only on the meeting yesterday, but you could also call in and just leave why you wanted to move it or why you didn't want to move it on there. And I think that's really what changed their mind, because there was 29,003 people who did not want it moved, and there was 1,625 people that did want it moved. So that was kind of an eye-opener for the Texas Historical Commission. And plus, back in March, we had it on the Republican primary of should Texas leave our monuments and cenotaphs, plaques, whatever, they should be left alone and protected. And it was specifically mentioned that the cenotaph not be moved. And there was 1.5 million Texans voted to leave that alone and not mess with it. That was 97%. So that was a landslide also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You also defended it, your group defended it, amongst others, when Black Lives Matter and Antifa wanted to destroy it back in June, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think it was the 30th of May. It's right there before, right in the beginning of July. They had the big George Floyd dust up, at every city, and we had gotten some information that the Black Lives and Antifa, and I don't really like to call them Black Lives Matter. I like to call it the Black Liberation Movement, because it's the same mantra of the late 60s. So, you can believe what you want to believe, but that's exactly what that is. They're trained Marxists. So if they really cared about Black lives, they would be doing other things. So we had intel that they were going to attack the Capitol, attack the Alamo, and attack San Jacinto. And by attack, tear stuff up, tag it, paint it up, whatever. So at the end of that rally, they all. I'm sorry. What'd you say, Paul?
I said deface it, tag it, destroy it.
Yes. Yes.
Because vandalize it,
yes,
that's basically what they do, and they cost money to replace it. But as you're saying, what happened? You told that they were going to stone you, right?
Yeah, and they did do some permanent damage to the cenotaph. I don't know that they'll ever be able to get the paint all out of the marble. We'll have to leave that up to some greater minds than us. But anyway, they ended up at the cenotaph, and they had already tore up the Capitol. They had pushed over a couple of, not monuments, but outdoor water fountains, and they spray painted almost every statue there on the Capitol. And we had between 120, 150 guys of us, Open Carry Texas, and a couple of individuals that just, when the call went out, they showed up. And we saw what was going on. We stayed my group stayed in Houston because we were unsure of the San Jacinto. So there was 4,000 of them, and 120 of our guys held the line and protected the Alamo, because they were openly chanting that they were going to burn the Alamo down and tear it up and whatnot. And our guys were attacked. Open Carry Texas guys were attacked. And thankfully, the Austin PD finally came in and called a truce and said, both sides agreed to go home. And they did. Everybody decided to cool down and go home. And Austin, SAPD, not Austin. They agreed that they would have armed police officers there through the night for the next 2 or 3 nights, because we would have went back down there. And that same night around 10 o'clock, I got a call that said that they were on the way to San Jacinto. So I rounded up some guys and we spent the night out at San Jacinto, because that was the day that our illustrious mayor let 60,000 roaming BLM and Antifa attend a funeral to a convicted felon who died of a fentanyl overdose that day. So the law enforcement officers were stretched thin. So.
Well, I want to thank you for your fight, and I want to thank you for your patriotism, and I want to thank you for standing up to the great state of Texas, and we all need to stand up.
Well, thank you. I
People
appreciate.
do not understand the importance of this election, and people better start studying and searching each and every candidate, and they have to exercise their right to. That's what I say.
Yes, sir. I'm in full agreement.
I think I lost you.
Okay. You're breaking up really bad.
And I hear you again. What I said was everybody needs, this election is going to be very, very special. Everybody needs to go out there. They have to research each and every candidate because it affects everybody. You elect some city councilman, then all of a sudden they want to destroy history, just like what happened in Antonio. Well, that history is Texas, and it affects everybody in Texas in general. And so we have to be very, very particular on not only city councilmen, but all the way up to the state candidates that are running. Research each one, what they mean, and do not be offended by anybody by removing someone from office if they don't need. That's what I say.
Yes, sir.
Brother, I want to thank you for what you're doing. Any word goes out there?
For 30 years, Buitron Academy has produced great fighters, peace officers, firemen, and many great citizens of Laredo. We teach various martial arts, savate, kempo, capoeira, each in their own traditions, trajectory, history, and pedagogy. Buitron Academy is the first school of savate in the United States, the first capoeira movement in Texas, the first kempo school in Laredo. What will one expect to see at Buitron Academy? Respect, fellowship, coordination, skill, and self-defense. Buitron Academy is located at 220 West Hillside Road.
The following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.
Hello, how are you? My name is Celestino Marina. I'm running for City Council, District 5, and I would like your support. Together, we will win. Thank you.
Hi Laredo, this is Carlos Perez. I'm running for Laredo College Board of Trustees Place 8. You can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CG Perez for LC. I look forward to gaining your support this campaign season and earning your vote November 3rd. Thank you.
Laredo College needs a leader, an educator with a vision to move forward for a positive change. This is why, as your candidate, I want accessible education, and most importantly, I want to listen to your concerns as a stakeholder, students, faculty, staff, and taxpayers. It's time for education over politics.
Vote Justin Hunts-Nusher Casiano for Laredo College Board, Place 7.
Hi, I'm Amber Avis Hinojosa, ready to change the direction of District 8. As a resident and business owner in the heart of the community, I know the pressing issues at hand. It's time to realize the potential in this district. Join me in the fight to bring change.
Vote Amber Avis Hinojosa for City Council District 8. The future of our district is in our hands.